Everyone could take their seats, please. The chair will call to order the regular meeting of the Community Unit School District 201 Board of Education today, Tuesday, August 21st, 2012. Roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon.
Mr. Armstrong?
Here.
Ms. Caparelli?
Here.
Mr. Charleston?
Here.
Mrs. Charlton?
Here.
Mrs. Hancock?
Here.
Mr. Price? Mrs. Thomas?
Here. We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the July 24th, 2012 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Abstain. Abstain.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the July 24th, 2012 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
The location is incorrect on the minutes.
Closed. Where are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this up for the 26th?
24, no, this is 24. Or you-
Sorry. I'm thinking the 30th.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
the closed
Sorry.
Okay, so we had a first and a second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Now, July 30th, 2012. What were you saying about that one?
The location is incorrect.
Okay, it's the junior, was this was junior
Junior high.
high?
Media Center.
Junior high. Thank you. Okay, July 30th, 2012. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the, how do I say that, the corrected minutes?
Amended.
Amended minutes of the July 30th, 2012 special meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? I don't have mine. Does the other one have that too?
No.
Closed, okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the July 30th, 2012 special meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, are there any public comments? Okay, consent agenda? Does anybody have any questions or? I'll take that as a no. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations. 2, certification of hazardous crossings. 3, board authorization of vehicle. 4, approval of amended 2012-2013 calendar. 5, resolution to abate working cash funds. 6, approval of August 2012 expenditure report. And 7, ratification of July 2012 payroll, regular payroll.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Mr. Charleston?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes. One thing I did want to mention, Mr. Carey and I were talking about, I just wanted to state for the record and for anyone who might be watching that as of tonight now, we have now replaced many of our teachers who had left. Kathy Delanoy retired, so Tom Faust will be taking that position as the vocal music director at the junior high. And let's see, Caitlin McGovern will be replacing Linnea Nemec. Then at the high school, Henry Vaughn will be replacing Matt Bufus. And then Thomas Jesse will be replacing Grant Sarr. So all of those positions have been filled. Okay, the next item is presentation of monthly financial statements.
During the month of July, the district received some of the third quarter mandated categoricals from the state, leaving the fourth quarter of FY12 yet to be paid. We received almost $307,000 for fiscal year 2012 in the month of July. We also received a small installment of our 2011 tax levy. So to date, the district has collected a little over $10.5 million for a 50.6% collection rate, which is comparable to the last 3 years. Also, during the month of July, we issued the 2012 working cash bonds that are funding our summer projects, and those include the installation of windows at the high school, Wi-Fi at the junior high and the high school, new library and computer lab and classroom renovations at both Manning and Miller, relocation of the administrative offices to South, and early childhood center at South School. And those projects are nearing completion. In terms of revenues, not too much is new or different there this year. Again, state continues to be behind. We did receive the third quarter of transportation payments, so we're just waiting on the fourth quarter in the transportation fund, and we're waiting on about $196,000 in the education fund. And in terms of expenditures, expenditures are where they should be for this time of year. We have our investments. We are investing some more funds as tax revenue comes in. Again, rates continue to be low. We did invest some of our working cash funds. We've already paid out some of that $5 million and had a rather substantial payout in this for the month of August. So we'll continue as we get the next round of tax revenue, continue to do investments. Does anybody have any questions?
Your investments of that working cash, how long are those investments for?
A couple of them, one CD is a year, one that's either 18 months, and then one of it is a little bit more liquid again because we've got these payouts coming through. So we're paying out over $1 million this month, and we had done some stuff, so I needed to keep that more liquid.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Then the next item is superintendent's report.
With regards to the facility update, as Kim pointed out, we're nearing completion with our, what I would term our phase 1 of our facility plan. And I do want to compliment Kim's efforts and then also Mike Maros on their efforts in overseeing the projects and really doing a nice job. And I think that's one of the reasons why everything's coming in on time, because of their diligence. Right now, we have a special board meeting slated for Thursday for those board members who are available, for board members to go through the facilities and see the renovations. We're still, just so that you know, we're still doing some of the spit and polish and those types of things. We would start at 6:30 at the high school, and then from the high school go to Miller, then Manning, and then end at South. So hopefully we'll miss all the commuter traffic on our way to South. I can also share with you that August 30th, we're going to be doing a press release regarding the completion of the projects. August 30th is the date that we're slating for. We'll invite members of our facility committee, and then also community will have open houses at each of those sites, and community members can feel free to go through the buildings, and we'll have obviously people there to help with tours.
Is there an expectation that on Thursday of this week other people will be joining in this caravan, or is this?
It's an open meeting, so it's the invites to the board, but obviously it's an open meeting. So if other people were to be there, they'd be able to go through the facilities. Our only hope is that with the 30th, then our buildings will be officially open, and our teachers will have an opportunity to be in their classrooms and those types of things. So, but definitely if somebody were to be there.
I was just wondering because some people want to go see all the buildings, and on the 30th they may potentially just go to their building where their students are. So I didn't know if, kind of how you were going to handle if we had a caravan on Thursday, so.
Right, well, I think one of the first things we did with the facility planning, we had the board tour the buildings, and I think we had additional people. on that.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
Okay, I was just curious, kind of if people were being encouraged, or if it was just kind of if someone comes, it's fine, I wasn't
right,
sure.
if somebody comes, it's fine, it's the 30th that will be encouraging.
The
And
big
then
one, okay.
we'll also encourage people to visit other than their child's building as well to see.
Well, that
some
brings up a good
renovations.
point. How long will that be in case people they want to get to two buildings?
Right now, we're looking at, I think we said 6:30 to 8:30, was that what we slated?
think so.
6:30 to 8:30, so a 2-hour block. And then we were thinking of working with Steve Cashman, where obviously he can't be in 4 places at one time, but, 30 minutes at a site, and then he would rotate so that if people wanted to target their visit when he's there. Between, I think, Ken, Mike, myself, and some of our other administrators, we probably can answer people's questions pretty well.
Okay.
So a 2-hour window, maybe that would actually allow people to go to,
Right, oh yeah, multiple buildings. They should be able to, I would think.
Okay.
And then I'll also share that Linda Cloudwater has already started the process. If you remember, we established a timeline for looking at an expanded early childhood program. Linda and Kim and our early childhood staff, they have visited different sites to look at facilities and also questions about programming. And so they will continue that process so that we have an idea of how we want that program to evolve, which then will drive the design phase. So we want to have all that in place and be able to go out to bid late winter so that everything time-wise works out well for us and we're ready to go for the fall of 2013. With regards to the Open Institute days, you have there what we're looking at for the agenda for the 2 days. On day one, we'll do our traditional welcome for our staff and breakfast, and the breakfast is sponsored by Dave LaBrache with Clarendon Hills Bank, and that was a budget reduction at one time, and Dave LaBrache has been very generous in sponsoring that breakfast for us. If you remember, last spring, we started the staff development with our teachers for the Danielson model, which is what our evaluation tool is tied to. And so we did 1 and 2 modules in the spring. We'll do module 3 on day 1, and then lunch with staff. And then we'll actually be rolling out the evaluation tool to our teachers so that they can see it. The remainder of that afternoon is for building level meetings. Day 2, we'll conduct module 4. The Teachers Association have their annual meeting. And then the PLC information will be shared with the staff. And then again, building meetings on day 2. With regards to our climate committee, we met on the 14th. And again, it looks like we've identified November 12th through the 16th is going to be Bowling Awareness Week. And if you're familiar with Red Ribbon Week in October, it'll be similar in fashion. Different activities will be set up. We're hoping to either bring in a speaker, hopefully for not only students but also parents as well during that week. And then there will be several activities leading up to that week to help promote it. I think once that committee kind of works through that process, the other thing that they want to focus on is looking at different character education programs, curriculum, those types of things, to see if there's anything that our district could benefit from or a hybrid, but we'll go through that process. Their next meeting is September 4th. And then the other thing that I can share with you now as well, I may have mentioned this at another board meeting, but we basically have 4 core committees that we ask for involvement from our community, as well as our staff and administrators. That's our Strategic Planning Committee, our Climate Committee, Facilities Committee, and Finance Committee. And in order to, number one, I think, broaden everybody's knowledge of our district, and because sometimes we have a tendency, if we're very much interested in the finances of the district, sometimes we forget about some of those other other pieces. And so we're going to start scheduling those meetings on one evening, all 4 groups, so that we will begin in one general session to kind of remind everybody about our vision and the direction we want to go as a district. And then groups will be able to work independently in their work. And then at the end of the evening, kind of come back to update and share out the progress. And I think it'll, number one, broaden people's knowledge of our district. And then number 2, helps us to make sure that decisions that are being made, or recommendations, I should say, being made within the committees are in line with the vision, and there's also a tie to the work that other groups, and we don't overlap efforts as well. Originally, I was hoping for September 4th to kind of launch that. And talking to the administrative team, we're looking actually at September 18th. And we're trying to keep them to Tuesdays because I think historically people keep Tuesdays available because of our board meetings. We'll still meet on the 4th with the climate committee, but then on the 18th we'll be bringing all the other groups together.
I have
I
one
think
question
that's a
about
great,
that.
I'm sorry, Diane.
I have one question about that. There are some people on all 4 of those committees who are, it's the same person. They just go to a different committee. What happens to their interest in all 4?
Well, I think, number one, that's the other thing that we're hoping to do is get additional people involved. So we'll be inviting people. But then, people can self-select, and we'll be meeting monthly. So,
They can move around. And
right,
still
if they
keep
want to
working.
move around, they can, or if they want to, for this meeting, focus on this group, but then maybe something catches their attention that another group is doing, so at the next meeting, they possibly would. We do have, you're right, we do have some people who have been involved in a lot of these things, but then there's also some people who, it's either an area of expertise or an area of interest, personal interest for them. And so I think it'll work for us, I think it's worth trying. And
So what time and where?
these meetings, the first one will be the 18th, September 18th, at 7 o'clock, and we are capping them 7 to 9. So probably about 8:30, 8:45 is when we bring everybody back together to debrief. 9 o'clock, we'll meet at the high school. We'll start at the Commons, and then from there, we'll go into media center classrooms to kind of divide and conquer.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's a great idea. I think you'll see a lot more involvement and a lot more focus.
I think so. And then the last thing I have for the update is our professional learning community update. We did have a parent meeting, August 15th, and I guess I would say conservatively, we had about 60 people, 60 parents there. And I think the parents were there for one of 4 reasons. One is just education, to find out what exactly professional learning communities are. They weren't necessarily in favor or opposed, but they just didn't know what they were. So I think definitely those individuals left with a better understanding. The second group was worried about process, and I think the communication piece. And I think in terms of process, there was a very thorough process. If you recall back to May of 2011 with board meetings and PTO meetings. And so I think internally there's a thorough process, a lot of communication. Externally, definitely, that should have been handled better. And as I told the group there, I own that piece, and that's something that I made a commitment to the parents that are there, and I make a commitment to the board and to our district that going forward that will happen, and that will be much improved. The third reason people were there were because we're talking about a 1-hour release on most of our Wednesdays, that potentially is a hardship versus an inconvenience. And we try to, hopefully have parents consider if it was an inconvenience versus a hardship, that either because both parents are working and there's just no way to adjust for that 1 hour, that we are sending out a letter. We'll be going to the homes with a brief survey asking parents to return to their home school to see just how many parents are in that, locked into that hardship. And we will provide adult supervision for that time. We're also working with the high school and National Honor Society if we can also provide some tutoring services during that time. A question did come up, what if I just want my child to take advantage of tutoring? And we said, well, let's see how many and see what we can do, and hopefully we'll be able to provide that option for other parents as well. But right now, we're focusing on those families that it's truly a hardship. And then the last group that voiced concern is it's an hour loss of contact time, and that's a given. And when you do the percentages, for a kindergarten student, it ends up being about 3.9% of the academic week. And for first through 12th grade students, 3.5% of the academic week. So roughly, and so again, and people who are there know I made a lot of assurances and a lot of guarantees, but I think that's, you know, a professional learning community is more than just, here's an hour, let's sit down and talk, but it is a shift in culture. And the group that is involved, the teachers who are involved in planning the PLC, and this is going to be communicated when we open the school year, it's basically no excuses. And I can't remember, whatever it takes. That's people are afraid that no excuses is too cliche, and so whatever it takes. And so basically that's the philosophy that we're adopting. So the assurances are, as a result of this, we will use that 96.5% of contact time better, and it'll provide a better education for our students. And at the end of the year, we'll be able to pinpoint to parents where we are better as a result of this time. And so in May, we will have another parent meeting and invite the parents there to show them evidence of better teaching, of our improvement. If we can't point to that, then we will not be going forward another year. And then we'll also be determining at that time, are we going to have the same model? You know, do we need less time? We're definitely not going to be looking at more time, but do we still need the same hour once a week or not? And that would be communicated at that time as well. So those are our assurances to our community.
Kevin, I thought you did a great job of advancing a compelling argument, which was, particularly in the first year, mandated participation by all of the teachers, and the reason for that being inside the school day. I think it was the first time a lot of people had heard that rationale and had an opportunity to sort of process it. You know, and I look forward to seeing how all of that progresses, because it does sound, you know, the argument is, again, pretty intuitive and pretty compelling, that the loss of 3.5% to 4% time, you know, if you lose quantity but gain quality over 96 to 97, you know, a substantial quality, you know, you should be net ahead and substantially net ahead. I hope that that's the case. That said, for this board member, going forward, even if things go well, I would like to see that contact time restored on a go-forward basis. I think first year it makes all the sense in the world to have it there, but on a go-forward basis, I think that contact time is something that, even if it's, especially if it's high quality, we should restore it.
Can I ask a question? I know when we talked about this at the last meeting, first of all, you know, I certainly heard from a number of people. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, but I heard from a number of people who found it very informative. Now, you're saying that the presentation is posted on the district website. So is that your presentation? Or a form of it or something?
There's a form of it. I know Nancy Battaglia, the size of the file, because I did basically run through the presentation record as I went through the presentation. It ends up being 30 minutes. So it is a sizable file. She is working on getting that uploaded. So as soon as it gets uploaded, we will get word out to everybody, so that, because I think the slides are one thing, but I think it helps to have some of the explanation that goes along with it. Okay. So as soon as we get that, we'll not only blog, but we may not do a ParentLink phone call, but a ParentLink email to everybody, letting them know it's there and it's available.
Okay. And one other thing that I think having this May 10th meeting sounds great, but one of the things that I think we talked about at the last meeting is, can we assume that there will be throughout the year updates to the board?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there will also be an opportunity for people to hear what is happening.
We actually have among our, if you remember, we formed our district leadership team last summer, and this is the group that's working with the PLC initiative. And we actually have a group that is, their chief role is communication. And so through blogging, electronically communicating to parents, updating, and then also with the board as well, there will be periodic updates. The other question that came up at the parent meeting, can parents sit in on a PLC meeting? And yes, they can. All we ask is that they contact the school and let us know that they will be attending, but yes, they can sit in on the meetings.
So there's quite a few new staff and administrative people this year. Are some of those people going to join the district leadership team, or what kind of roles do you expect?
Already, new administrators are part of it. Laura Riley, who's the WTA president, she asked me for each of our committees a brief description and time commitment, and then and the district leadership team is one of those. And then on one of the opening days, she is going to talk to the membership about all those and encourage involvement in those different committees. And I think even from the teacher perspective, they want to really start to try to get new people involved in some of our committees and some of our initiatives.
So does doing all the committees on one night help with that then? Maybe helps with participation?
I think it does because, well, many of you guys,
Sure.
if you remember, there are some weeks we were seeing each other 2, 3, 4 times, So
It was nice.
I think that's definitely will help people when they can kind of get their mind around if it's one evening a month. That sounds a lot more manageable. And even as board members, that affords you the opportunity, again, if you have a personal passion, you can be there for that committee, or if you just, again, want to kind of get a flavor for the types of discussions and the questions that are being asked among our community members, you'd have that opportunity as well.
Were you finishing?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And Shannon brought up a good point with new administrators. And can you talk a little, I know, that I think I heard that you had talked about that Jack Balderman has a background. I mean, he knows a lot about PLC. So
Right.
even though he's new to our district.
Yeah, Jack, as you're aware, has worked with Solution Tree, and Solution Tree is Rick Dufour, who was Superintendent Stevenson, and has kind of been, Stevenson was kind of like the place to go to visit about professional learning communities. And Jack has been a consultant for them and has helped other districts implement, so definitely helps having Jack as part of our administrative team.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you
Yep.
done? Okay. Are there any board reports? Okay. I don't even know if we have to remind everybody that the first day of school is next Wednesday, August 29th. The next school board meeting will be September 11th, 7 o'clock here, and August 30th. And you'll be sending that out.
Right,
to
we'll get something out
Okay.
via the newspapers and, again, electronically about the 30th. And then we also have the special board meeting on the 23rd to our buildings.
Can I just mention one thing that, I just, to put it out there, the Westmont Park District has, I spoke with Steve, and they will pick up any kids that attend the Westmont Park District. They will be picking up the kids at the early release on Wednesday, so.
Right.
I had a quick question. I understand that on Skyward, for the elementary parents, they can find out their homeroom teacher. Is that true for the entire district or just one of the elementary buildings? Or?
I'd have to check with Nancy Battaglia before I could answer that.
Gary, I will say I looked today and mine was there.
Okay, so it was, so both schools at least, okay.
Yeah, mine was there, so.
And, just as a follow-up, I've also heard a number of compliments about the information. I know just because my school, Kristen Krustel sent out a very informative information to the parents about the new bus routes and all that information. And there was a lot of information for the parents, and people were very thankful for that, so.
Yeah, I would say a little sooner. Yeah,
Sure.
I agree. I mean, I get both school blogs and both schools did a similar message. And I thought just a little sooner would have probably quelled some of the.
I would absolutely agree with that completely. I think, though, I will say the flip side is that given so much, when are the teachers going to be able to get into their classrooms? When are the buses, it's a new bus service that we're using this year. There's so many variables this year. But yeah, I mean, sooner's always best.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but that was just my one thing is I too thought it was a really good, was really glad to see that volume and level of detail and, that was kind of after I was finished reading it and thought this is really good, I thought, it would have been even better.
It came a week earlier.
It was really good, it just would have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
A little earlier.
As a side question to that, has there been any outreach to the PTOs at the elementary level to help them get their, because I know that Meet the Teacher Day was a real big drive to get those holes filled up for any volunteers. Without that Meet the Teacher Day for that, is there something else that's been looked at or suggested?
For
The PTOs to help them get access to parents as they come into the building.
I'll talk to we're actually meeting, the administrators are meeting Thursday morning, so I can talk to them about that, if there's another avenue, because I think that might be the time that parents signed up for different events.
It is.
So, see if there's a way that we can facilitate that.
I think, though, it also, and I don't remember the name of the date, but like it's at the beginning of the school year when the teachers
Curriculum
run through.
night.
Yeah, I remember last year that was a night that a lot of parents could sign up for.
That was like the second night that.
Yes, it was like a second night, particularly like book buddies, math buddies, things like that. So
Yeah, let
maybe
me,
they could take advantage of, unless they need anything before that. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, since we're not having a meeting till then, Manning Ice Cream Social is
6th.
September 6th. And they're still looking, I think, for some volunteers for that, so. Okay.
I just have a quick question, really probably for Judy. I noticed an email, there was an October DuPage Division dinner meeting coming up. Will
At
you?
IASB?
Mm-hmm. October 2nd, I'm pretty sure, was the email that came from the ISB. It's the DuPage,
Yeah,
it's their
yes.
fall division dinner.
Dinner,
It's
okay.
at Glen Ellen, it's in Glen Ellen at Crown Plaza. And I was just curious if any of us who are going to attend will be handled through the district office or if we need to.
Did you get a mailing?
There was an email.
There was an
I
email.
didn't get anything snail mail yet.
Not in the-
Although they said they snail mailed stuff, but
Yeah.
it said it in the email.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any
Yeah, we haven't
paper.
got it. We can, at our next board meeting, so that the board has to sign up for the events that they would like to be at, the different school events. So Judy and we can make sure that we also include something about the October dinner, and then it would work through Judy if you'd like to attend.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
There's no public comments? Okay, then the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining and personnel issues.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon?
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Mr. Charleston?
No.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Okay, and there will not be a vote after the.
Did you say no?
Said no.